Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Parris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 1176. This is your host, Danny Pena, and joining me, it's been a while, the return of Parris Lilly. Parris, what's going on, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, man. How you been?
I'm good. It's good. It's just busy. Life, you know how it goes.
Yeah, man. That's good. It's good. Have you been playing anything? You took a couple time off just away from games or what?
Yeah, I played some Forza Horizon 5, so I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a second.
Oh yeah, man. That game is fire, man. Actually, you know, I just unlocked an achievement where I went all over Mexico and discovered all the roads, everything, and I just unlocked it last night. So what I'm gonna do is just continue with the campaign and play from there, man. But yeah, man, I think it's the best looking game that I've ever seen so far from Xbox so far right now. Close second, I'll go with Gears 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I tweeted this the other day. To me, it's one of the more visually impressive games I've ever seen, regardless of platform. I've been playing it on. I played across the gambit. I played it on the Series X, the S, and on the PC. And playing it on the PC, maxed out ultra settings, 4K. It's just a showcase title. It really is. Playground Games has done a fantastic job with it. And I have not personally played on Xbox One, but the fact that you can also play it on Xbox One and it's scaling like that is an impressive feat for them from a technical standpoint. The gameplay itself, I mean, you can tell Playground Games it continues to build upon what they've established with the Horizon series. It just keeps getting better. It's obviously very familiar to just pick it up. You already know the formula. You know, you can go do the various races. You can obviously just explore all the different biomes in Mexico, which again, visually is just so good to be able to see everything that they've done. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We've already seen the reviews that have come out. They've all been very positive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the highest rated game of the year.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So again, kudos to Playground Games, and I know Turn 10 obviously is assisted on some level as well. But this is definitely a showcase title for Xbox, and like I said, all the kudos goes to Playground for that, because it's a fantastic game, and you don't even necessarily need to truly be into racing games. I mean, obviously, the Horizon series is more of an arcade racer, but you know, if you're into racing at all, it's a must-have title. And like I said, it's this kind of feels like the kickoff for Xbox on what we can expect coming from them moving forward.
Yeah, definitely, man. But first, we're going to talk more about Forza. But first, head over to gamertagradio.com. Listen to our past episodes. You can also find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. And also make sure to follow us, subscribe, and post a review. If you have any feedback, questions, or comments for us, make sure to hit us up. And here's how you can contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, Parris. So, yeah, man, I'm really enjoying Forza Horizon. I know I talked about it during the last episode of GTR. And I think it's only been like a couple days for early access has been out. And it looks like it's about to hit like 1 million people already purchased the game. And I know there was a deal where if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, they had a major discount. Instead of paying close to like $100, you only will pay like $44 something if you want to get like the early access. I think that's really cool and smart for Microsoft to start doing that. Do you think we're going to start seeing that in the future from them, from like games like Halo Infinite and you know, Starfield and all these other games next year, like just having that major discount as a subscriber?
I believe so, but I'm of two minds of this because even this right now with this early access for Forza Horizon 5 has kind of created some, I don't know if controversy is a strong word, but it's created some confusion and it's created some sour feelings out there in the community because, you know, people that are Game Pass subscribers are like, hey, I thought you said we get everything day one, but this is almost a technicality. This isn't day one because day one isn't until the 9th. This is quote unquote early access. So people are buying early access to be able to play the game a few days early. There's been some rumblings this might happen with Halo Infinite, and we'll see with other titles. I'm not a fan of it personally. It's a credit to this game that, like you said, you've already had almost 1 million people basically purchase early access for it. Goes to show you it isn't all about Game Pass. If you make a quality game, people have no problem, buying it, right? But at the same time, there's been this big push for Game Pass, and obviously, you and I are big advocates of Game Pass. We see the value in it. We think it's a fantastic service, and like I said, this seems to be the kickoff. It's only going to continue to get better as we go into 2022 and beyond with more of these titles. But I don't like the practice of spending additional money, even if you get a discount or whatever, to get something early. It goes back to the old days, with physical copies, with game, you go to the GameStop and all that stuff. So, like I said, I get it. I'm just not necessarily a fan of it. I almost feel like in a perfect world, if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, let's say, right, you should get early access too. I think that should be a perk as well. Yeah, you know what I mean? Whereas you're almost being punished in a way for being a Game Pass subscriber. And obviously you have the choice to go buy the games and do whatever you want. I get it. But let's be real. Most people that are going to be dedicated to being a long-term Game Pass subscriber aren't going to go out and go buy a game that's going to be available on it, quote unquote, day one, especially Microsoft first party. They're just simply not going to do that. I'll tell you right now, my cheap ass ain't going to do that. That's for damn sure. If I didn't get a review copy, I would be waiting until the 9th. I would not have bought an early access copy of the game. Same goes for Halo. I would wait to get Halo because I'm already subscribing to Game Pass. That's the whole point of it, right? So, like I said, I get it. I'm of two minds of it. I'm just not necessarily a fan of it.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the communication between Xbox and the consumers, because there was a lot of people that were hitting me up saying, "Oh man, it's already out. I'll see you. I'll see you in a few.
Yeah.
In a few." And then they go to Game Pass and they see that it's not available there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's more of the messaging. I think they have to do a better job with that.
I agree.
Now, do I see this as a punishment? I don't see that at all. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Like, the past few months, I've been going to El Capitan Theater when a movie is about to come out. So I'll go like on a Wednesday or Thursday night. I do pay extra money instead of like the regular ticket price because I want to see the movie early. That doesn't mean that they're punishing other people for not watching the movie early, like not watching the movie early. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think this is more part of the business side where it is working for video game companies. And I think they also are trying to figure out what makes sense. Before, it was more of like, you pay $100, you get early access. Now I'm starting to see from Microsoft that if you're a Game Pass subscriber, instead of paying $100, you pay $40-something or something like $40-something, right? Which is cheaper than paying that, and you get early access. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think
that's extreme. I still think that's extreme for a Game Pass subscriber to have to spend $40 to get early access. I guess that's why I'm saying that's my point. Like it's, I don't know, pay to win is the wrong term, but you're just paying more money to play something that you were going to get access to anyways a few days early. That price point to me seems extreme. So there should be more of an incentive if you're a Game Pass subscriber to not have to do that.
I mean, it is working for them because look, they already sold like a million copies already, early access. Just that alone. That's not even counting the regular retail game and the game on Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? So, I just don't see it as a bad thing, Paris. I think it's just a business. And like you said, look, I'm also cheap. I'll rather just wait until the full version comes out on Game Pass, and that's it. It sucks that there's going to be people playing the game ahead of me, but I could just wait. It's not a I don't see an issue
like I
with
said,
that.
I see both sides of it. I see the business side of it. Clearly, it's working, like you're saying, because people are spending the money to do it. So there's no incentive for them to continue to do something like this, right? Because it's been profitable for them, and it shows again, like we said. Game Pass isn't the end all be all. It's a choice. So it's not like you have to, well, I can only rely on Game Pass. If you really enjoy something, you really want to play it, the stats show people are willing to go spend the money on it, to go do it. And that's what's happening.
Yeah. Now, very quick, I want to change subject. So, Paris, I've been playing Call of Duty Vanguard now for the past couple of days. I know we're going to have a conversation with that, but I have to say something, man. I'm a huge fan of zombies. Like that's the only thing that I play from Call of Duty. Like I don't care much about the multiplayer campaign. For this one is actually pretty good. I like it. But zombies, my God, I think it's the worst zombies that I've ever seen from Call of Duty. Ever. It's the worst. I'm not feeling it at all. I find it boring and it's not fun. Not fun at all, man. Just don't like the setup how they have it in this game at all for this, man. So yeah, but I know the reason why I brought up Call of Duty the other day on Twitter, you mentioned that.
Why are you bringing my tweets up?
It's public. It's public. It's out there. So I'm going to read it to you.
What if I what if I don't want to answer it on the show?
No. But on the real, you said that you didn't. First of all, you didn't know that this game was coming out. And the second thing you said, which caught my attention the most. They need to take a break, which I doubt that's gonna happen because the game has been selling like crazy still every year, and there's a whole audience that we don't know, Parris. And you remember this when we went to, was it the tournament that they had, the esports tournament of Call of Duty? That crowd, that's all they know was just Call of Duty. They don't know anything else. They don't know about Halo, nothing about Assassin's Creed. No, the only thing they know is Call of Duty, and that's it. It's a different beast, man. I really doubt that Activision is going to stop or take a break from the series. I don't see that.
No, of course not. Of course they're not. No, yeah, that wasn't the point of why I was saying that. I wasn't saying it that I think they are. Of course they're not, because it still sells. It's still the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It's still going to be one of, if not the top-selling game, one of the top-selling games every year. It's not showing any signs of real slowdown for Activision to be concerned. I'm just saying, as a gamer, as someone who actually used to really enjoy Call of Duty, I'm over it. I'm bored with it now. It's just rinse and repeat the same thing over and over again. I can only go to World War II so many times until I've seen it all. Hey, let me miss Call of Duty. That would be great. Like in a perfect world, Call of Duty takes a 3-year break. Would be amazing. Kind of rely on Warzone and just continue, to iterate on that multiplayer, while the quote unquote campaign and the next Call of Duty, takes a break for a while. Maybe you can kind of take a step back, get some lessons learned, and kind of see some of the things you're doing right, some of the things you're doing wrong. And I understand Activision has 3 studios that are making it, and they're basically on that rotation of doing it. So it's not like Treyarch is just pumping out a Call of Duty every year. It goes to Sledgehammer, it goes to Infinity Ward as well. I understand all of it. All I'm saying is I'm so over Call of Duty and so bored with Call of Duty, it didn't even register with me that it launched this week until like in that afternoon. I was like, oh, wait, it's out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being frank, I have zero interest in even playing it. That's why I didn't try and request a review code or anything. I just simply don't care anymore. I don't. But that's me personally. I understand. Like you said, when we've gone to these Call of Duty World Championships over the years, we're not the average consumer. There is a huge fan base for it. And they're still, but, they're jumping in it because they want to play the new multiplayer. They want to do the multiplayer maps. I get it. I'm just saying from a personal standpoint, I would love, kind of like Assassin's Creed, took a break for a few years. I would love to see Call of Duty do the same. I don't want Call of Duty to ultimately have the same fate as Guitar Hero, which is another Activision title that they just ran into the ground. It's eventually going to happen. if you keep putting it out every year. Look at Madden from the EA standpoint. I'm over that too, because you keep pumping it out every year and you're not really doing anything significant, to re-engage me with it. I'm just, oh God, there was another title I was thinking of too that's just being run into the ground. Well, not it's not annual, but kind of along the same vein of Call of Duty, even Battlefield 2042. I kind of wish they took a break from 5, which was great, but even this looks like it's coming in hot. I almost wish this would get delayed a little bit more because I think it's going to come in hot. It's going to be rough, but we'll see. But we'll see.
Yeah, and I agree with you, man. Because, dude, I played the beta. Oof,
it was rough.
It was pretty. It was rough. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: you're paying $60, and that game doesn't even have campaign. It's just strictly multiplayer. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. But here's another game, and you play it. I mean, your son is a huge fan of this. NBA 2K. Mm-hmm. You play. You play it every year, right? So. Does that need to take a break too? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like
I'll dabble in it. My son plays it more than I do. I'm not hardcore into NBA 2K, but I'm just not into the sports titles at all anymore for that very reason, because you just keep pumping them out every year, and you're not iterating enough on it to do something significant. You're basically paying for roster updates. So yeah, even that it's not something like if it's up to me. No, I wouldn't put them out every year.
You know what I think they should do? And I think should be more of like EA and maybe Xbox and whoever planning to do this on the service. I think sports titles should be part of the a service like Game Pass or something like that you will get updates every year. Everything is through there. As long as you're part of the service, you get the game. I think that's, in my opinion, is a better route than releasing every year and it's just an update. And charging $60 for it, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I can see that happening in the future. But another thing I want to bring up, Parris. I know this was going around a lot online. Was Square Enix mentioned that, and it was actually the CEO of Square, the president of Square Enix, said that Crystal Dynamics was the wrong fit for Marvel's Avengers, calling it a disappointment. So, do you think Crystal Dynamics is the wrong fit for this game? I totally disagree with this, but I just want to hear from you, from your side.
I agree. They're admitting their mistake. Crystal Dynamics was the wrong studio to do this. I told you this. Go back to Gamescom 2019. That was the first time I saw Avengers there, and my radar went off. I go, uh-oh. Something about to say right. I said it back then. And here we are now, almost going into 2022. And everything I feared about it turned out to be right. Crystal Dynamics did not have the experience to make a games as a service. Now, is that the game that Crystal Dynamics wanted to make? Probably not, because the actual campaign of Avengers is fine. It's once you get to the quote unquote end game where you see a lot of these issues and the problems that have surfaced. Beyond that, they just simply didn't have the experience. I could throw in the example. We look at CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077. We're realizing they didn't have enough experience to try and pull off what they were doing, with Cyberpunk. And here we are. And I think the same thing applies with Crystal Dynamics. So if anything, you're just having Square being honest. Now, whose decision that was it a Square decision? Was it a Crystal decision? We'll never know. But they're just being honest about the situation. That wasn't the studio to try and make a game as a service game with that IP. Again, Disney's not happy about this because the Avengers should have been a flipping layup. It should have been a layup. That should have been easy money to make, right? Because everyone loves that IP. They love those characters. It just made a lot of sense. Obviously, we're seeing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at that. That was done right. And everyone loves that game. And Keely's probably going to be talking about it in a couple of weeks, right? Whereas they dropped the ball with Avengers. So he's not wrong for saying what he said. I don't think he should have said it the way he said it, but he's not wrong because it almost implies it's Crystal Dynamics' fault. Whereas if I had to guess, there was probably pressure from Disney and the publisher Square to do what they did, and the studio obviously just did the best that they could, right? I mean, Hey, it is what it is. It's the lessons learned at this point. These games as a service are very hard to do. I mean, the reality of it is there's really only one that's been successful long term, and that's Destiny. I mean, you even look at the Division. Look at the Division 2. Look how excited we were for the Division 2 at one point, and look where it is today. It's, they couldn't maintain. It's hard to maintain those kind of games and keep people engaged with them and continue to monetize them at the same time. So, it's tough.
No, it is tough. Well, we also have to add Warframe. That's a very successful live service game too.
Yeah.
But now that that is out there, which the timing, I find it kind of fishy, Parris, because even before that, we heard that Crystal Dynamics they're working on with Microsoft Perfect Dark, and then this comes out. Like, I don't know, this was a way to like just give them a bad name and at the same time defend themselves for releasing this type of game. And look what happened with Battlefront 2, Star Wars. Disney was not happy with that game either, so it's a lot of things.
Actually, I can give you another example from Square, which it's not exactly the same, but to me it kind of points towards, is it the publisher or is the studio? It makes me lean towards the publisher, maybe kind of quote unquote interfering a little bit. Look at Outriders. Outriders had great potential as a brand new IP, to disrupt the market and grab a foothold. It launched hot and buggy, wasn't ready. And I honestly don't even know if they fixed all the issues, but even if they fixed all the issues, now everyone's moved on. Even being on Game Pass wasn't enough, to save that game, to make it as relevant as it should have been, because the premise of it was fantastic. It's, early on, I had a lot of fun with it, but then it became so buggy and had so many glitches. I'm like, I'm not gonna continue to play this game. And clearly a lot of other people felt the same way. But again, that was another one that had great potential. And the fact that they were afraid to embrace that they were a live service game, trying to act like they weren't a live service game, didn't help either, because guess what? Outriders is a live service game. So that's on the publisher again, I think, more so than the studio, because the messaging wasn't right. Did they force People Can Fly to put the game out before it was truly ready with all the issues that they were having? There's a lot of things with that as well. So, yeah, I again, if you ask me from the outside looking in, I think a lot of this is more of a Square problem than a studio problem. We know Crystal Dynamics, going back to that, is a very talented studio. Look, they resurrected Tomb Raider. We know they can do great work. I don't think Microsoft would be bringing them in to help with Perfect Dark if they weren't a talent studio with talented people over there. And obviously the studio head at the initiative has a previous relationship, being a part of Crystal Dynamics. So it made sense. But that's why I say I lean more towards publisher than studio, because I think the people at the studio are talented enough to make great games. They just were given something that was outside of their quote unquote skill set to truly pull off. And this is what we got with the Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oof. Not looking good, man, for Square, man. I think overall, before we go to the next topic, I think overall companies should not focus so much on live service games, man, because most of the time it just doesn't work overall, man. For a Square, Outriders, like you said, the Avengers, I think it's a wrap. They should just focus on single player games like Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. Dude, that was a huge surprise for me. I think it's one of my favorite games so far this year. Like, it's so good, but we need to see games like that from Square, man, instead of them working on, hey, let's do this some live service. We're gonna get a lot of money from this, man. And look, it just looks bad, man.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be an easy thing just because it had the Avengers name and Marvel name in there, and it just didn't work out. And I think this month, right? I think when the Spider-Man content, the exclusive content for PlayStation is coming out, do you think people are even going to care? Because I remember there was a huge controversy when that was announced.
Yeah.
Like, are people going to care anymore? Like, or they just going to ignore it and keep on playing other stuff?
Yeah, and ironically enough, on that's going to be PlayStation exclusive. So even the deal they made to get Avengers on Game Pass, the Spider-Man content isn't going to be a hook to well, you know what? Let me jump in and go play it, because people on Game Pass aren't going to be able to even touch it, or on PC either. So
yeah,
it's going to be a small sample size that are even going to have access to want to go touch that stuff anyways. Yeah, I just think the game's doomed. I don't think there's going to be a second life for it, a resurrection, other than Greg Miller. I think nobody else,
he loves it.
Yeah,
he loves that
game.
Yeah,
he loves it. But I just think that ship has sailed, unfortunately.
All right, so let us know your thoughts, guys. For those that are listening, make sure to hit us up, fanmail@gamertagradio.com, or give us a call, 76273-7GTR. That's 76273-7GTR. Or if you're listening to the podcast, under the description, there's a link of SpeakPipe where you could also leave a message through there, and we'll play it on the show. And actually, we're going to go now straight to voicemails and a message. And this is fan mail.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
All right, Parris. So this is the first question. This is on Discord. This is from Monkeyman652. He says, "Hello, Danny and the gang. With it being close to November, what do you have for Game of the Year so far? For myself, it's a toss between Far Cry 6 and Metroid Dread." Parris, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I think you just did, didn't you?
No, that's why that's part of the message.
I thought you were saying that was you.
No, that's not. That's not mine.
No, I'll go first. No, it's Death's Door. I'm not wavering from that. Still Death's Door for me. I would say if I had to kind of quote unquote do a list, Death's Door would still be my game of the year. Psychonauts 2 would be in there as well. Deathloop would also be in there. And oh crap, I'm missing one. That I am blanking on. I'll come back to it, but go to your list.
Well, for me, I definitely have to put up there Psychonauts 2.
I remember that.
And also Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank is up there too. I honestly, like, every game that I have on my list is all single player campaigns. I don't have anything multiplayer wise at all from my end.
No, and I just remembered. Yeah, Ratchet for sure, but Returnal. That was the other one I was thinking of. Returnal.
Ooh, Return.
I would
very surprised.
Yeah, I would definitely say it. As a contender, I don't think it's going to win, but it's definitely one of the better games that have come out this year. I love the premise of it. Thought it was fantastic. But yeah, for me, it's Death's Door. It's just so funny that when I first saw that game at Day of the Devs, and then later on at the Devolver E3 showcase, I was like, I was like that's gonna be dope. So then Acid Nerve came on XCast, and we got to talk to them. And then when I got that game, I just fell in love with it. It's such a throwback to the old school Zelda games. That's what it reminds me of. I love the humor in it. I love the discoverability of secrets and just everything. Like, I hope, and I'm kind of sure they will, but I hope to see them continue to do more in that universe. And it's a small studio. It's two people, and they obviously outsource some of that stuff as well, but it's basically two people that made that game. And I think that kind of stuff needs to be celebrated. The fact that a 2-man team was able to make a game that, look, it's not going to win, but the fact that it's in consideration, that it won't shock me for Keighley to have it on the list when that comes out is a credit to them. So for me personally, I go with Death's Door. That's mine. But then I would also throw in, I look at what Double Fine did with Psychonauts 2, and it's just such an achievement, such a fantastic game, fantastic story, the humor, the music, just everything that they were able to do with that and build upon a 15-year-old game, a sequel to a 15-year-old game, and it worked. It was great. Yeah. And then, like we obviously have talked many times about Ratchet. I mean, it's a freaking Pixar movie. It really is. Hands down. Yeah. Hands down. Yeah. It's a living, breathing Pixar movie. I mean, what Insomniac did with that was just incredible as well. So it's funny when I look at 2021, because we think with the pandemic and so many things got delayed, it still turned out to be a really good gaming year. It did. I think it was definitely some compelling titles in there. A lot of fun. Again, Deathloop is another one that did something fun and unique. That really grabbed my attention, and it's going to be interesting to see not just obviously the Game Awards, but all the sites that start coming out with their Game of the Year list, because I just think there's going to be so many different contenders and diversity in there, which is great because, you know, a lot of people are going to have Resident Evil 8 in there. You're going to have Hitman 3 in there. So there's going to be all these games that people are going to be championing that are going to be a Game of the Year list. And that's good because that's what gaming should be about. It's objective. There's no one true game that stands out from the crowd this year, but that's okay because I think there's so many good ones that's what you want. You want just a bunch of great games and everyone gets to choose what they want.
You know what I noticed, Parris? I think the past 2 years or so, a lot of the games that's been getting a lot of the attention has been two things. One is single player, and number two is indie games. And especially during the pandemic, I think since last year, I've been playing even more indie games because a lot of the games that we were expecting that were going to come out got delayed or so on. But yeah, man, I'm glad to see that more of the single player campaign games and also indie games has been getting highlighted everywhere from all across the media. I think that's really, really cool. And there was a time where, dude, everyone was talking about multiplayer and that games need to have multiplayer for longevity. And I don't think so, man, anymore. Now I think things are changing, and I'm glad to see that, man. I'm very, very happy to see that all those games that we mentioned, Parris, all of them are single player campaigns.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think that's the beauty when you can tell a tight, coherent story that doesn't rely on, you know, like you said, the multiplayer stuff and all that. To me, that's great, and we really got to see that shine here in 2021. So it's a good thing.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, this week's episode is sponsored by Arcane, a Netflix original series from the creators of League of Legends. Arcane is a 9-episode, 3-part series that follows the story of two young girls, V and Powder, born in the Undercity beneath Piltover. Their eagerness to prove themselves will set in motion of a series of events that will take their relationship to its breaking point and transform them forever. Witness the animation event of the year to see the champions we know and love like never before. Characters like Vi, Jinx, Heimendinger, Jace, and more. Their stories will all intertwine in this action-packed series. Whether you're a long-time League player or you're brand new to the Runeterra, Arcane serves as a perfect introduction to the vast world of League of Legends, focusing on the origins of some of the most iconic characters. Dive into the stories behind one of the most played games of all time. Discover the secrets of Piltover and its Undercity, and prepare for the epic battle that is just the beginning. Arcane is now streaming exclusively on Netflix. And guys, I mentioned a couple times now on this episode of Gamertag Radio that I just started watching the episodes, and I'm on episode 2 right about now. I'm going to watch 3 later on tonight. But let me tell you, it's an amazing, amazing series. I've been having a great time watching it. And look, I don't know anything about League of Legends, and this series got me hooked. So go right now so you could watch it. Arcane, exclusively on Netflix.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
I don't know if you're ready to move on from this, but actually,
go for it.
I have a question for you.
Oof,
because we've not talked about this on the podcast.
Oh,
Speaking of single player stuff, Halo Infinite.
I was gonna mention that to you. Oh my god, yo, Parris. Like, I know the multiplayer side, they're good. Like, I think not perfect, but I think 343 are in the right path with multiplayer. I'm very curious to see, one, how it plays, how long is the campaign, because this is a totally different beast, Parris. The way how you're gonna play this one, because there's gonna be so many side quests. It reminds me kind of like Far Cry, that type of vibe, and it's open world. I'm so curious to see how that's gonna play, man. And is there gonna be anything new in the game too, like new enemies, or because remember playing Combat Evolved for the first time? That the flood, when you got to see the flood for the first time, like, man, I would love to see something like that in here, man. Like some new enemies and stuff, man. Because I know they tried to do that with 4, and it was okay. It wasn't. I don't know. It was okay. It was okay, but I'm excited for it. I know it's coming out now in a couple weeks. You know, are you worried? Are you excited? Do you think they're in the right path or what? Because I think they are.
I went from skeptic to when we just got that last campaign reveal. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I think, you know, having Jen Taylor do that voiceover and her to start it off saying that Halo has always been about Master Chief and Cortana. I'm like, okay, 343 gets it, but that now basically we have to move on from that. I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes. Obviously, you know, the pilot's going to be in it, the weapon, you know, things like that. I think where we get is it ends with Chief having to let Cortana go. I think that's where we're headed with this, because I think as gamers, we have to let that relationship go now. It's been 20 years, and it's crazy to think it's been 20 years, but we've been with these characters for 20 years. We know them. I love just in a little bit of dialogue we had with Master Chief and the weapon kind of highlights that, because, you know, Steve Downs, we know that voice. We know Chief. He's been through it, has all the experience, and here's the weapon coming in, the new AI, and she's very naive. She's new, and she's asking these questions that Chief has to answer, and it's like, this is the start of a new relationship. This is the start of another chapter with Halo. And believe it or not, at some point, we're going to have to let go of Spartan 117 as well. At some point, the Halo franchise will have to move on from Chief and Cortana. And I think this is where we're going. I think 5 was trying to do that with Luke Cage, but they screwed it up.
Luke Cage?
Yeah. Just whatever. But I think now they're going to do it in a slower, smarter way. Again, they're calling this Infinite for a reason, because we'll go through the main campaign. There's going to be the side stuff in here, but they're basically setting up this sandbox to be able to give us things to do beyond just because look, we're going to roll credits on this thing. It's out with December 8th. We'll roll credits by December 10th. It's not going to, it's not going to take us that long to roll credits on the main campaign, but giving us things to do in that sandbox. Like you said, a lot of comparisons to Far Cry have already been said from what we've seen, and I totally get that. But it's going to be very interesting to see how we're going to be able to use, obviously, the various weapons, vehicles, and just tackle these objectives in different ways. In a weird way, co-op not being there day one is almost going to give the game a second life when it comes out in a few months, because then all these things that we were doing by ourselves, now we can go do it with 3 of our friends. And that's going to change it up even more on how we want to go do a complete ground assault, on mongooses. Do we all want to hop in I'm forgetting the name of it, but the flying one, do we do an aerial assault to it, right? Do we all just want to go and win with shotgun? Like, there's going to be all these different things that we're going to be able to do in the sandbox with our friends, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. So I'm excited to see it. I've said it before. I'll continue to say it. This can't be okay. It has to be great. It does. And I think the smartest thing that Microsoft, that Xbox has done in their 20-year history was delaying this game a year, because it can't come in just okay. They got to nail this. We've clearly already seen with the multiplayer. The multiplayer is going to be good. We're going to have a good time with that. If Joe Staten coming in, because again, visually everything looks great now, but if Joe Staten has come in, they've curated that story, they fixed the visuals, and we get this memorable experience where I care about what happens. Like, I hope I shed a tear at the end of this campaign if I'm saying goodbye to Cortana, as an example, right? I want to care. Whereas 5, I didn't care. You know what I mean? So if they can nail the emotional aspect of the story by the time the credits roll, and we have this fun sandbox that we'll continue to go back to and have fun in, I think they're on to something, and I feel very hopeful for it now. Whereas maybe 6 months ago I didn't, but now I do. From what I've seen, I think this extra year has been good for them, and I'm excited for it. So we'll see.
No, and I agree, and I think also we're going to see a lot of new content easily in the future for the game because this is going to be Halo for years. So that's also adding multiplayer and a campaign. Now, I just hope, Parris, that this game, campaign-wise, doesn't end like 2, where you could tell they couldn't Bungie at that time couldn't really finish the story,
Right.
so they saved that for 3.
Right.
I hope it's not like that we have to wait for a long time for the next campaign to come out and they get updated to Halo Infinite. I hope we don't see that. I don't want to see like a to be continued. Then we're like, wait, what's going on here, man? You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't think they'll do that. I think we'll definitely get a definitive ending to whatever this conflict is with the pilot and the Banished and all, and obviously Cortana. But I think they'll set things up so that they can add in more mission / story elements, down the road. Because again, this is why they're calling it Infinite. This will not be the end of the campaign portion of it, here on December 8th. They're going to continue to do some other stuff to kind of keep the story going. And that's what I'm saying. By the time we get to whatever Halo 7 is going to be, because I guess it would be 7 at that point, whatever they're going to call it. God, well, that's probably like the end of the decade before we'll see some of that, because I think they're going to try and, extend Infinite out for a while to keep people coming back wanting to play it.
Do you like a game like ODST?
Yeah, I loved ODST.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I loved ODST. If anything, that was one of the better Halos. Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay, and Halo Reach. Halo Reach is one of my favorite ones.
Reach is
really, really good.
Reach is probably the best standalone story that didn't involve Chief, for sure.
Agreed.
I think Halo hit its peak with 3. To me, I think that was the best combination of story, the multiplayer, leading up to something, and again, even 3 had a definitive conclusion, but they left you room. Like Chief even says, as Cortana's putting him in the cryo freeze, wake me up when you need me, right? So I'll be back. So we'll see. But I'm excited for December 8th. I'm excited for Infinite. Like I said, I think they get it. I think 343 gets it, and I think for 343 this can be their redemption, because I enjoyed 4, the story, multiplayer I didn't. 5 just that set the franchise back, in my personal opinion. Obviously, we know all the technical issues they had with the Master Chief Collection, so I hope Infinite is their redemption, where they nail it and everyone's excited about it and everyone's playing it. I absolutely think people are going to be playing the multiplayer. Everything from the technical preview that I've seen so far just really shows me that they Tom French and those guys over there, they've done a fantastic job with it, and I'm excited for more. Which, by the way, a side note, because I want to say this, and I this is my opinion, not yours, unless you want to chime in on it. Mm-hmm. The people that have been giving Ryan McCaffrey grief online because IGN got IGN first and they got to play Halo Infinite, some of the new maps, they've been showing them off, and people have been ridiculing him over his gameplay on the maps. It's not fair. It's not fair to judge a journalist, especially someone like him who's been in this industry, 20 plus years at this point, and has always done fantastic work. Sorry if he's not as good as you think you might be on that map the very first time that you probably are getting to play it. You don't know the scenario that was happening when he played. That was the footage that he had. You got to see it. Worry about seeing the map and the weapons and what he's doing versus his skill set, because not everyone has all day to sit down and play a video game and quote unquote get good at it, right? So if he's not as good as your expectations may be, oh well, that's a you problem. That's not a him problem. And it is. I am saying this from a personal standpoint, because at this point I do consider him a friend. So when I see a friend getting ridiculed online for something like that, I think it's juvenile, and be better than that, really. I mean, because you wish you had the opportunity to get access that Ryan McCaffrey does, to be able to play something like Halo Infinite early, and it just comes off as petty when I see stuff like that. And we just need to be better people. We do, because honestly, I watched it. I really didn't care what he was doing. I'm looking at the map. That's what I cared about. It wasn't until I started seeing comments and I go, what, really? I was like, oh, really? Who cares? So it's just disappointing stuff to see.
No, it reminds me of Dean Takahashi.
Same.
Remember when he played Cuphead and everybody was like, oh, he's a bad player. I'm like, yo, like, we've been to events, Parris. We have no idea what they're going to show us, what type of game it is. Like, we have no idea. Sometimes we play pretty good, and sometimes it's bad. Like, we're trying to learn the way how you play the games. Like, people also got to understand, when you go to an event or when you go to E3 and you play these games, we're like, it's like fast. It's a fast thing. They do a presentation, we get to play. We have no idea what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I get where Ryan's coming from, and Dean and any other journalist or content creator that go to these events and cover it. Like, I get it, you know, but I think it's more of the petty side, Parris. Like, a lot of people are just mad, like, oh, they got access early. I'm going to grab a clip.
Yep.
Let me share this and trash them so people could talk about it. And let's focus on that more than the actual game. We've been waiting for a Halo game for years. Let's talk about that, you know, and I get it, man. Like, props to Ryan for getting that exclusive, you know, for IGN. But nah, man. People shouldn't be doing that to Ryan or anybody. I think that's not fair at all, man. At all.
Completely agree. It's not. So yeah, I just, it was bugging me. So I just wanted to say that.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because I totally forgot about it, because I'm like, really? Whatever. It is what it is, you know. But I'm gonna play this one voicemail and we're gonna wrap it up here. Okay, so let's play it.
Hi, Gamertag Radio. It's Wooly Canuck here. I am a launch PS4 customer. I've had the console all this time. It's still working. And I made a big decision after many months of consideration, and I've now bought a Series X, and I have switched over to the Microsoft ecosystem. A lot of reasons why I did this. I'm going to miss out on some of the exclusives, so that was a consideration, but form factor for me was a big deal. But all the options that Microsoft is bringing to the table, such as Game Pass, xCloud, you know, it just all works. It's such a great console. I'm so happy that I bought it, and it's good for the family. So it's a big decision for me to do this, but that's where I ended up, and I think I just got to recognize that Microsoft is finally getting it right on this generation. I guess time will show where things go with both these consoles. I think PS5 is a great console, but just not for me right now. And that's where it is. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person kind of in this situation making this decision. Love listening to you. All the best. Take care.
Yeah, Parris, you know, the reason why I want to play this on the show is I'm glad that people are giving a chance to Microsoft to try the service, try the games. I think this generation compared to the last one, they're doing a pretty good job, man. And I'm also glad to see, you know, from the PC side, people are now getting to play PlayStation for the first time, because now PlayStation are releasing games to there too, you know, and that's what gaming is all about, man. Instead of being stuck to one brand, I think overall we should just play games in general, man, and just have fun with it, man. If you want to play Nintendo, that's it. I think that's it, man. As long that you, your friends, and your family are having a great time, I think that's what matters most, man. But I'm glad to see, you know, people are giving Xbox a chance, you know. I think it's pretty dope.
No, I think it is too. And I think this kind of just goes to something that, you know, we've been saying here for years, because again, I'm keeping it real. I really don't care. You know, we catch a lot of crap because this show, and even myself, even before as a part of GTR, we owe a lot to Xbox. Xbox basically helped us get, quote unquote, to where we are right now, being able to do this. Obviously, this name of the show is called Gamertag Radio, which leans itself towards Xbox. We've obviously been very Xbox positive over the years, but if you rewind the tape, you know, there's definitely been years where we've been very critical as well. But over these last few years, we've been pretty positive toward it, because we're seeing exactly what this gentleman is talking about. You're seeing a Microsoft that has been very consumer friendly, that's providing a lot of value, that's provided a subscription service now that allows you to discover and play more games, which is, for the whole family, which is ultimately what all this is supposed to be about. But to your point, Danny, it's a choice. You don't have to do it. There's great games on PlayStation. There's great games on Nintendo. There's great games on the PC. You go where you find your enjoyment. And that's the whole point. It's not about this stupid console war, because that's what it is. It is literally one of the dumbest, most immature things that I see online this day. Like, I had said something just the other day about Game Pass. I don't respond to comments because it's a bunch of idiots, but I saw a person that, there's the Game Pass thing, hashtag ad. And I got nosy and I went into their profile because I was curious. It was like almost an obsession where this person is just following me on Twitter, and constantly, anytime I say, worrying about what I'm saying about a video game opinion, who cares? Instead of worrying about what I say so much, go actually play the games that you enjoy. If you love some PlayStation, go play some PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, whatever the case may be. And that's how it should be. And as individuals, like this gentleman, he's doing what's best for him and his family. And that's all that should matter. That's it. You do what works for you, what makes you happy, what you enjoy, instead of worrying about what other people do. Right? Mm-hmm. It's really that simple. So you don't have to like Xbox. You don't have to like Game Pass. You don't have to like the cloud. You don't have to like any of that stuff. You go play what you want to enjoy. And that's how it should be. And I really wish, and I understand it's a vocal minority, but even the vocal minority that is online screaming for attention, having their Twitter spaces, coping sessions, whenever there's some news about the platform that isn't their favorite, It's like, get over yourself, stop wasting so much time online, and actually go play the games. If you're actually playing the games and enjoying them, you weren't worried about what other people are doing. That's my thing. So,
yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, man. But now I want to ask you this, Parris, before we wrap it up. The 20th anniversary is next week, and people already heard me 1,000 times mentioning this. What the 20th anniversary of Xbox means to you, man, because it's happening next week on the 15th.
What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
A lot, because, I've told the story many times. The first E3 I ever went to was that 2001 E3 where Xbox was just getting started. I'll never forget going to that Xbox booth, playing a buggy Halo Combat Evolved and going, this ain't going to work. This will never work. And Microsoft is in over their head. I'm headed over to the Nintendo booth. I'm going to go play Luigi's Mansion and wind up getting an Xbox by dumb luck on launch day. Picked up Dead or Alive 3 and Halo. Didn't touch Halo for a month. Wind up playing Halo. Fell in love with it. And the rest is history. As I even alluded to just here a second ago, I owe a lot to Xbox as far as from a content creation standpoint, community standpoint, because they really championed that back in those early days and, really helped myself. Like, I was a Microsoft MVP, all that stuff. But yeah, it means a lot to me because I feel my relationship with Xbox over the years has been an honest one. When they've done great things, I celebrate it. I talk about it. I champion it. I encourage other people to check it out. But, hey, during the beginning of that Xbox One era, and y'all can roll the tape on this podcast and listen to yourself, I gave them hell for their strategy and what they were doing because this wasn't the Xbox that I wanted to see. I didn't like what they were doing. But all that changed in 2016, and I've talked about that a million times as well. Going to that spring showcase, Phil giving that keynote, which he basically talked about everything that we're seeing today with them. Game Pass, cloud, multiple platforms, they're building out their studios, in-house studios for making quality games. And we're seeing the fruits of that labor now. It's starting to happen. Like we just talked about Forza Horizon 5 being the top rated game so far this year. We just praised Halo. We see what's coming next year from them. It's exciting times, for Xbox. So to see all the being a part of this thing for the past 20 years has been amazing. Obviously, on a personal note, hell, I got to do something I thought I would never do. And that was actually host an E3 event for Xbox. It still blows my mind that I did that. So yeah, and again, on a personal level, getting to meet so many people, internally and having these relationships with them over the years. I mean, but that's just me on a personal level, right? I understand some people on the outside might look at that and think, oh, you're biased, blah, 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 blah. But I'm also a human being too. And I value relationships, and it goes beyond, getting a game early or going to an event and all that kind of stuff. And, you and I talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. I am so excited for the Game Awards this year. Not because of the ceremony, not because of, none of that. You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited to see the people. That's what I'm excited for. I'm so excited to see people that I have probably not seen in over 2 years at this point. That brings me joy. And when I say Xbox, a lot of those people are going to be coming from Xbox, because these are the relationships that we've cultivated over these 20 years. And that's what matters ultimately to me. And like I said, I am not sitting here right now talking to you if it wasn't for Xbox all those years ago, basically bringing all of us together. So that's what it means to me.
That's good. That's good. And I was also going to bring that up. Like, I would have never met Parris, Pete, and a lot of people that I know from the industry side, from the community side, if it wasn't for Xbox. Because I remember when I started playing, Xbox Live, that's how I met a lot of people, just us playing online games, man. Having those fake voice. Remember the old school change your voice?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the early days, man. That's crazy, man. No, but it's dope. It's dope. But look, for those that are listening, I highly recommend for you to listen to a couple episodes ago where I went to an event called Xbox Unleashed, and I recorded this with my brother, and we talked about what happened 20 years ago, man. So highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite episodes I recorded in a long time. So make sure to check it out. Now, I know the Game Awards is coming up very soon, so anybody that are planning to go, hit us up. I would like to see people over there at the event, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And that's happening sometime in December, early December. So can't wait. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. Head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback. Listen to our past episodes. You also can find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. We're there. Subscribe, follow us, or also post a review. If you would like to be part of our fan mail segment or episode, all you have to do is this.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, great episode, Parris, man. Thanks for coming back, man. I know it's been a while. I know you've been super busy and everything.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been.
I know it's all good.
It's been a crazy couple months.
It's a good thing.
Yeah,
we've both been super busy, man.
And since I've not publicly said this, congratulations to you for joining G4, man. That's such an awesome opportunity.
Nah, thanks, man. I mean, you knew about this behind the scenes for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. That was like a year-long process for me for many reasons, but yeah, it took a long time, man, so I'm glad that everything is going through. And yeah, the network is launching in 9 days by the time we finish recording.
Yeah.
Insane, man. But it was awesome, talking to the team, and especially Adam Sesloka. He's a legend in the industry, man. Yo, we don't stop talking. We always talk about like back in the early days, and he was telling me like how was the process back in the early days for them. Oh man, it was difficult, man. Very, very difficult. So I'm glad to work with him and the rest of the team over there on G4. So yeah, so 9 days. Anything else, Parris, you want to say? You want to promote anything before we wrap this up?
Nope. Nothing to promote right now. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see soon.
We'll see. Yeah, the holidays is coming up. Yeah. So yeah, who knows? Merry Christmas. All right, everyone. We're going to wrap it up here. Until next time, we're out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.